The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Acuma, its board of directors, its management staff, or its members. The podcast discussion presented is conversational in nature and for general information only.
This is Acuma's On Point Podcast. On today's episode, we'll dive into the human side of housing and homeownership. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Acuma's On Point Podcast, a series focused on sharing the stories of people who are making a positive impact in the credit union mortgage industry. I'm your host, Peter Benjamin. Today, I am joined by Julian Joseph, founder and principal of JYJ Consulting, LLC. Julian.
Hey.
What is going on?
Listen, you know what? Just another day in the housing finance industry, just letting the grass grow under our feet. Nothing to talk about here.
That's right. Letting the grass grow under our feet. I love that. Now, hey, Julian, like I said, I hate to say actually, because actually always has negative connotations, but ever since you proposed this topic, the human side of housing, I couldn't be more excited to have this conversation with you today. Really, because we can take this in many different ways, right? And we often talk about it, but it's always in passing. We never really dive into it. And so I'm really looking forward to diving into that idea of the human side of housing and homeownership, really what motivates us, what motivates you, the challenges and opportunities in the space and why it matters so deeply. Because I think that last part, why it matters, we often say it, we put families in homes, but let's investigate that. Let's really go into that a bit more. Excited for this conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
But before we get to it, as always, gotta bring Justin to the conversation to give us the latest and greatest happening over at Acuma. So, Hawk, what's going on? What is the latest and greatest happening over at Acuma?
Well, over here at Acuma, we are coming back from annual, so we're all sort of in recovery mode, but we're rocking and rolling.
I still have not caught up in sleep.
What is sleep again?
I don't know.
that thing that escapes all of us. Yeah.
Seriously.
Just because all of our in-person events have finished for the year, I know there's some sad violin music playing somewhere. That doesn't mean that we are out of the weeds of events with Acuma. We actually, and I hate that word as well, but we do have an event coming up tomorrow. It is our marketing network meeting. So if you haven't registered and you're looking to learn some new marketing tips and tricks, come join me and some of the co-chairs as we have our Q4 meeting. Then next week we'll have our servicing network meeting. So again, if you're in the servicing space or just want to learn more about mortgages and servicing, then that's the place for you to be. Other than that, we have our inside tracks going on all year round and our favorite On Point podcast.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say that. Outside of the events, outside of everything that we're working on, I feel as though we should probably mention, the two open board positions, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Or three. It's three.
Three. That was announced at annual at the end of the conference, actually. So
That's right. So
again, there's that word.
If you're listening and you're part of the credit union movement, we currently have 3 board positions open, so be on the lookout for more to come on that. But just if you're interested, feel free to shoot me an email and we'll get you in contact with the powers that be. But anyways, enough of Acuma. Justin, thank you very much.
Of course.
All right, Julian. All right, so
all
right, so game on. All right, so first things first. We talked about the topic, we teased the topic. But before we get to it, we always start with the same question. We always end with the same question. So we're not going to go away from that. We're going to stick to that format. But I think now more than ever, I'm doing a long intro to the first question. Okay. Now more than ever, I think this question tees up our conversation quite nicely And the last question really encompasses today's conversation as well. So, but we'll get to that. So first question is, who is Julian Joseph? And you can take that as personal or as professional as you want. You can lead us down whatever rabbit hole that you want to, but that is the first question. Who is Julian Joseph?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. I'm so happy to be here. You guys are absolutely my favorite group of people. So thanks for having me today. Where do I start? Who is Julian Joseph? I'm a lover of people. And I think, I come from two parents who were educators, lifelong educators. They are also folks who believe in mission and strengthening communities and leaving people better than they found them. So, my mom is an ordained minister. My father is also a deacon at their church. And I come from a family of people who lean into a higher power in order to be the best version of themselves. So who is Julian? She's somebody who is just trying to leave people better than she found them. That's who I am.
I love that. Love that. That was awesome. All right. So let's go into the conversation. So the conversation is really be centered around, the human factor or the human side of housing and home ownership. And I'm going to expand on what I said earlier and why I love this so much. And if it's okay, I'm going to give you a short story. And this is about you, but it's not about me, but I'm going to give you a short story.
Okay.
Pandemic. I'm painting the picture of the pandemic. And it's all about refinance. It's all about, closing more loans, right? And that's really, outside of everything that happened in the pandemic, the mortgage business was rocking, right? Yeah. Volume like we never saw.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to add to this. I'm going to sidestep. About 15, maybe 20 years ago, a mentor of mine told me, our job is simple. We put families in homes. Mm-hmm. And that sunk with me. It hit me to my core. Mm-hmm. And I promised myself, okay, well, if I ever lose sight of that, we put families in homes, I'll either do one or two things. Mm-hmm. Make a transition to something that ignites that passion again, or open my own brewery.
I love it.
I know, right? Totally two different things, but same thing.
Okay.
Pandemic. I lost that sight. I lost I started focusing on the numbers. I started only thinking about, all right, last month we broke a record. Can we break another record? Yeah. We broke another record. Can we break another? Can we close more loans? And it wasn't even about the money. It was just the numbers, right? I didn't focus on the people, right? I didn't focus on, hey, we're helping someone. We're actually doing that. And so that's why I made that transition to Acumen. So that's why this conversation today hits home for me, because all too often we can this is a message that we can easily lose sight of families and homes and the higher purpose, the human side.
Yeah.
But if we think back to the financial crisis, or the Great Recession, whatever you want to frame it up as, the human side was never even thought of, never even considered in majority of the decisions that were being made. And so I'm a firm believer, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're going to repeat them. So let's have this conversation, Julian, the human side.
Yeah.
So provide me your perspective. I mean, obviously, this is something that you've dedicated your life to. You've seen great success to. You've been part of the past administration with FHA. You're over at MBA, the Mortgage Bankers Association. I mean, you have made a career, and you've originated. You've made a career of this, helping people getting to house. And so for you, walk me through the human side. Walk me through what motivates you. And let's focus on those two things, like the human side and what motivates you, and we'll get to the other parts of the challenges and why it matters in a little bit later.
Yeah, you teed it up perfectly, Peter, by mentioning the housing crisis. That is where I established my North Star for this work. Prior to that, I had originated and, was a practitioner. And of course, that impacted everybody once the bottom fell out. But I knew that I didn't want to stray too far from housing. And I knew that the market would rebound at some point. So that's when I went to the Neighborhood Housing Services of Baltimore and decided to be a foreclosure counselor there, which was ground zero for the housing crisis. And I mean, ultimately saw people at their very, very worst. I mean, I'm telling you, people who would send in pictures of their children saying, please don't let them take my house. There were people who were in situations where, before the housing crisis happened, there were 2 incomes in the family. And then all of a sudden you're down to 1. And then you have a husband or a wife saying, hey, honey, don't worry about it. I'll shoulder it. I'll figure it out myself. Don't worry. And then it's a robbing Peter to pay Paul in order to figure out how to just keep things in the middle of the road. And then ultimately, that catches up with you. And I know of people who actually gave up. And when I say gave up, they ultimately gave up to the point now that their kids only have one parent. So it was intense, you know what I mean? And to see people begging to keep the roof over their head, put that fire in me, not knowing what the trajectory of my career would be. But I saw what happens when people make bad policy. And I promised myself if I were ever in a position to write policy or anything that I would put my hand to, it would never leave people that way. And, from 2010 on, that's been the fire in my belly. Not even knowing that would be my training ground for what I was going to be tasked with doing when joining the administration to solve for FHA's issue with the pandemic. So my why started as a housing counselor, helping people with foreclosure, 2010, after the housing crisis in Baltimore.
I mean, I don't know how to follow that up, but so obviously that's what motivates you, right? So that's the fuel behind your passion and why you are on this mission to help and educate as many people as you possibly can. And I see it whenever you talk. I see it when I feel it when we're in person. That you just want to help and you want to be part of it. So I guess the question is, obviously, you mentioned bad policy, but it's not just bad policy. It's, it can also be bad practice and greed that lends to it.
Absolutely.
I guess for me, the question really is going to be, how do we, I'm not going to say right now we're in the middle of a housing pandemic. Because I don't want to call it that, right? But becoming a homeowner is becoming more difficult. The cost of things, you could easily argue, is making it more difficult for people to sustain home ownership.
Right.
How do we as an industry remember that? And either maybe it's both, not either, but help people achieve this what we know as the American dream, or supposed to be the American dream.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, that how can we as an industry, with interest rates kind of plateauing, I mean, they're never going to go back to 3%. I think we all can agree to that, right?
Yeah.
We'll say it's plateauing at 6 and 7.
Yeah.
But everything else is increasing. Insurance, just the general cost of food. I mean, you got to eat.
Yeah.
How do we as an industry remember that human side and help as many people as we possibly can?
Yeah, it's an empathy thing. And I think that we are, in a time and in a season of survival. And with survival can come the spirit of apathy. And I think that, people are dealing with a whole lot of stuff right now. I mean, there are a lot of factors and variables. The age of the first-time home buyer is somewhere around 38 right now. It's there's a whole lot of stigma that lives there around homeownership.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that I did when I set foot in FHA as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Single Family Housing, I had a big dry erase board in my office. And the first thing that I wrote up there was, every decision you make in this office will impact generations. I had that on my board. I looked at it every morning and I remembered the reason why I was doing what I was doing. And yes, to your point, it's not just bad policy, but it can be bad intentions. It can be the lack of intention that can end up having devastating consequences. How do we solve for this? It takes a village in order to do this. I think that this is now more than ever the time where there are silos in the industry that have to be torn down and destroyed. There are conversations, tough conversations that need to be had amongst different corners of the housing ecosystem. It's going to take everybody right now. And I think that as we see some challenges in the spaces that we used to rely on in order to make sure that homeownership was on the table for a lot of people, we see those things being rolled back. So what does that look like? Okay, well, we know that, down payment assistance on the federal level is being challenged right now, right? We know that there are a lot of communities, Black, brown, white, you name it, underserved, that need money to get into a house. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is what it is. Oftentimes the math just doesn't math. Even for the millennials right now, I'm a Gen Xer, you know what I mean? So there are still people that these are the first generations that are gainfully employed, right? But just because that's the case doesn't mean that they've necessarily had enough time in order to save to make that initial investment. So a lot of times the conversations that we hear, this is where the empathy comes into play. Well, just because you have a decent check doesn't mean that you can necessarily front 3.5% already because you've been in the job for 6 months or for 12 months, especially if you're the first one to break that ceiling to start making good money in your family. So this is where that empathy conversation has to come into play. Practically, what that looks like is an 80% AMI can be tough on down payment assistance because there are people who are now making above that who still need down payment assistance at the 120 to 140 band of AMI. I'm here in the DC area, and I'm telling you, there are people who are making 6 figures right now, but they are living check to check. But if you put them on some type of, if you're looking at the actual grid of what they would qualify for down payment assistance, they make too much. But right now, I can tell you they're eating ramen noodles every night and bowls of cereal to try to make it, right? So I think that there needs to be very candid conversation to present the stories to the policymakers right now so they understand that while on paper, it looks like people are doing well, but lives, it happens. You know what I mean? People get sick, people lose jobs, shutdowns happen, there are issues that are unforeseen. Pandemics happen. So I think that there needs to be a broader conversation that adds additional color so people can understand the spectrum of the lives that these people are living and make sure that they create policy that accounts for that.
You listed so many amazing challenges, right? And we can easily add to it, right? And you're just, really, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, if we even focus on, construction and how builders aren't building what's considered affordable housing. Granted, what does affordable housing look like? But they're not building those houses that aren't targeted for the upper middle class to those 1%ers, right? They're not building something that's realistic for the average income earner to purchase in that geographic area. They're just not.
Yeah.
And this, if there's two fundamental needs that every person has, it's the need to eat and the need for shelter, right?
Absolutely.
Those are the two fundamental things. And right now, you could easily argue that both of those things are in jeopardy because of everything happening, right?
Absolutely.
And we saw it in I keep saying, the Great Recession or the financial crisis, so please forgive me.
No, you're good.
But if you think back, that was the first time in history that people opted to pay their car loans over their mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For some strange reason, they say shelter isn't that big of a deal. My Maserati's more important.
Mm-hmm.
At what point in time do we get to the place where the need to eat is more important than housing, or vice versa? Because neither of that's a healthy situation.
Yeah.
Right. And I still don't understand how we fix it, because as an industry, there's just so much out of our control. I mean, yes, we can be a voice.
Yeah.
But it's so much out of our control. So I welcome your thoughts on this. How can we fix this? How can we change this? I think credit unions are uniquely positioned to help their communities better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be a way. We have to be able to do something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned earlier that down payment assistance is definitely a thing that has always been one of the major barriers to homeownership. It's time to get creative. I remember the days when I used to originate and the rate sheets came out at noon and they were like, or they slide them on.
Those were the days.
They slide them under your door quietly because they don't know if you're on the phone or something like that. And you had the price, from par. Like, am I taking a hit on this deal?
And those things were not easy to read.
They were not easy to hieroglyphics, seriously. Or, there were no pricing engines, guys. We were the pricing engine, right?
Grab your calculator.
Right? So, okay, in a particular deal, do I need to do, to price it over par in order to get a lender credit so I can give a kickback to help with the closing costs to make it easier for them? Like, those were the types of things that you had to do. You have to say, okay, if somebody is getting $25,000 in down payment assistance, does it make more sense to be creative and structure it that, hey, do I put half of this on principal reduction? Do I take a piece of this in order, to pay points so that they have a lower, interest rate and more affordable payment for the life of the loan? Like, there are times that, the industry has to start to tinker with things. It's a Rubik's Cube again. It's no longer they come in with 25,000 and you're like, okay, just dump it on the principal. That might not be the smartest way to do it. And you might need to play. This means you have to have conversations with consumer advocacy groups. This might mean that you need to reach out to the local employers to see if they're willing to do some type of employer-based down payment assistance. Do you start working with your, local and city government and say, hey, look, can we do a matching program? Do you start working with your housing finance agencies to see if there's an opportunity to layer there? Like, the days of, Uber delivering your deal is over. So, we have to figure out, where can we put these crumbs together in order to make a loaf? And if we don't do that, we're going to have a huge issue. And, at Acuma, I mentioned on one of the panels that another thing that we have to address is the fact that a lot of these young folks who are entering the housing market right now, or even thinking about dipping their toe in it, are the kids of people who lost their houses in 2008. So there's already some PTSD that's injected into them in their DNA that makes them say, I can't trust a bank, which is why this is a wonderful space for the credit unions, because one thing they know is mom and dad have been with this credit union forever, and I trust them. There's a different level of credibility that you all have when engaging, particularly with younger people, because mom and dad, grandpa, grandma have already been there. They've got a relationship. They've never been burned, so it's a little bit easier to have that conversation. So I would say to your listeners to, one, keep that in the back of your mind and know that you need to name the thing, because that will go a long way. And I think the second thing is lean into the fact that there is a gift that you all have by being in the credit union network that comes with some instant credibility that you can build upon that a lot of other financial institutions don't have. So my answer to your question, Peter, you got to pull the pencil out, sharpen it, get creative, figure out how to leverage funds to the best of the ability that you can, and use education as a tool to empower so people can feel like, you know what, there is absolutely no more juice left in this squeeze. And I know that, this loan officer who just worked with me, this originator who just worked with me, did everything they could to get my mortgage down to the lowest penny possible. You do that, and maybe, you know what, they're not going to necessarily go to Starbucks 4 times a week, in order to get their latte, because I really want the house, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? Cut it down to 2. Get an espresso instead, and, instead of going back 3 times a day. So those are the types of things I think need to start happening.
I love that. I really do. And one of the things that you were hinting at, but I'm going to reframe, I'm going to frame it up in a different manner.
Okay.
You are basically saying the days of being a salesperson, just being a salesperson, are long gone. We have to go back and be fundamentally financial advisors, and trusted partners for our borrowers, our members, our communities, whatever you frame it up as, because we have to go above and beyond to help them. And, even to the point of saying, let's restructure your debt to make this more affordable for you, and come back to me in a month, come back to me in 2 months, come back to me in 3 months, once all this stuff is kind of paid off. Even if we have to do that as a trusted financial advisor, that still helps them be better, right? We can't just be salespeople. We can't just be person pushing a widget. We have to be counsels. We have to be consultants, because that type of mindset where we're trying to problem solve, but also put them in a better financial well-being is really what's needed nowadays.
Absolutely. And it's smart business sense, because, if you do that level of due diligence, right, you're making sure that they are having the most affordable mortgage possible. You're potentially talking to them about restructuring debt. You're building that relationship with them that they feel like a trusted partner. So one, you're going to make sure that you're not doing a bad mortgage that's going to end up exploding on your books. So you want to do that anyway, right? Nobody wants a distressed asset on the books. Okay. So this is just something that you should do anyway, because nobody wants to indemnify anything, and nobody wants to have to put anything on the auction block as a distressed property. So you should want to put them in the best situation anyway. From the actual sales perspective, even if it takes them a little bit of time in order to restructure the debt, clean themselves off, get the hair off of the deal before they come back. If you can't make a sale, make a friend. I mean, at the end of the day, if you do that, guess what? They might not be ready, but they're like, I had the best experience with my mortgage person. Their neighbor or their boss or whoever might be ready to buy, or they might be ready to refinance, and they can say, you know what? Peter gave me some amazing information, and he's not even getting paid on my deal right now, but he took the time to talk to me. I trust him and I feel good. You should give him a call, because if he's willing to work with me and he doesn't know if or when he's going to get paid on my deal, I know that you, who are in a financially sound position, he can get you in and out with no problem, and I trust him. So it makes good business sense to be relationship driven and not transactional anyway. That's how you keep a pipeline going. That's how you have strong reputations in communities, but that's how you eat. And that's how you keep the lights on at the organization or the shop that you're working in.
Brand reputation is becoming more and more important. And part of that brand is the individuals within the organization. And if you could show a higher standard, people will come back.
And it raises the standard for your neighbor. If we're complaining about the sentiment among the industry, if you start to see that the yard next to you is cut and manicured, and you've got flowers in the bed, but you've got a car sitting on center blocks, broken light bulbs on the porch, patches in the grass, there's going to be pressure on you to pull out the lawnmower, to pull the weeds out, to change the light bulb on your porch. So I think that rising tides float all boats. You do what you're supposed to do. There's a natural inclination for people to want to do better. And even if they don't want to do it themselves, the competition is going to push them in that way in order to do better. And I think that that is what will improve the quality of what we're kind of seeing in the way that people are being treated in the industry. And again, how different players in the space engage. I think it just needs to be a greater level of empathy and human care and contact that needs to happen. And somebody's got to be the spark plug for that.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So we need to start transitioning to the second segment. But before we do, two final questions.
Okay.
And then we'll pivot.
Okay.
All right. So if you are, I want you to pretend as though, this podcast is an open up deck for everyone to listen to. I want you to address this specifically to the credit union listeners.
Okay.
And this is going to be your final thoughts.
Okay.
Why does this matter so deeply, and why should they make that pivot to really focusing on helping as many families as they possibly can?
Oh, it's huge. I think the economy relies on it. If it does not happen from the mortgage perspective, we understand what happens when things are good in the mortgage industry. Everything excels, everything flourishes. If we have a hole in the actual financial system for mortgages, the bottom falls out. There is no way that any other industry in the economy can survive if mortgages fail. And I go back to the point that credit unions are location and community based. They independently represent the communities that they serve. That is the model that it's built on. So there is an opportunity to cookie cut your approach, your business model to the folks that you serve. There is no greater autonomy in the financial industry than those of credit unions. There is a huge latitude that's there in order to support the customers that the credit unions serve. So what I say is this: I think that is the canary in the coal mine, is that if for some reason there's a weakness or a deficiency in the credit union space, that is usually going to be a tale of what the rest of the economy and the other financial institutions will experience. So I think that it's really important that right now, this is the time to ground yourselves in the communities that you serve. Open up, whether it's on a Saturday, whether it's on a Friday, if you want to have some type of farmer's market, whatever it is, open up your doors for a family day. Do something to invite people into your building. Let them talk to you about the things that they're experiencing, because it's very easy for us to anecdotally create things without having real conversations, to push down what you think people should have instead of asking them for what they need. And I think that this is a perfect opportunity right now for credit unions to do that. And I absolutely believe that the sovereignty of the housing market, no pressure here, can literally rest at the heels of what credit unions do and how engaged you all are with the communities that you serve.
Great answer. Great answer. All right. Real final question before we pivot. And it ties back to everything we've already talked about, but I still have to ask this question.
Sure.
What motivates you? What keeps you going? You're like everyone else. You take one foot out of bed in the morning and then you get your day started and you just keep pushing forward. What keeps you pushing forward?
You know what? I'm a big crybaby, Peter. Anybody who knows me well knows that I cry at the drop of a hat, right? I can get in front of a room of people, and it could be 2,000 people that I'm talking to, and I will start to talk about my time in housing counseling. I can talk about the stories that I heard during the pandemic. I can talk about the first time that somebody said to me, thank you so much for working on that student loan debt policy. I was able to buy a house when I've been told for 5 years that I couldn't. And now I have a roof for my new baby and my wife. And then I cry when I tell that story. What keeps me going is the fact that people now know that there is someone who has been in the seats that I've been in that will cry for them. They know that there's someone who has shaped policy, who went to their community and either good, bad, hopefully for good, that that we had a conversation and that they left an impression on me that made me go back to 451 7th Street Southwest in Washington, D.C. and said, you know what, we need to fix this problem. And that was something that was a priority to former Secretary Fudge. She said, the work is going to get done. She said, but the way that we will do it is with kindness, because when you treat people with kindness, people will want to help you. It's easy to create a coalition when you're moving in the right spirit of stewardship and making sure that people are not hurting unnecessarily. And if there is something that you can do, you do it, and you don't defer it to somebody else or defer it to tomorrow. So you asked me what makes me get up is because now I've created an expectation of the people who know me to get up. And there have been some difficult days and disappointing days that I've seen in the last few months. But the same reason why I raised my hand and was sworn in to serve in June of 21 is the same reason why I continue to get up today.
Best answer yet. Hands down. Best answer yet. Best answer yet. I love that. Was fantastic. Good job. All right. That was awesome. I don't even know where to go.
Don't make me cry now. Peter, don't make me cry now.
I don't even know where to go from here now.
All the feels.
That's right. All the and you started a little teary eyed for a second.
I felt it.
You did. You did.
Okay.
You did. So
all right, bring it down.
All this is audio. I can contest.
Okay.
That Julian was starting to tear up a little bit with that passion. I love it. All right. So Julian, we need to start pivoting. All right. Okay. So as a reminder, this is where we sometimes do dad jokes, sometimes we play Jeopardy, and okay. I hinted at it. We're playing Jeopardy today. So bear with me while I bring in my Jeopardy board. Now, Julian, one of my favorite holidays is Halloween. And so we are going to play Halloween Jeopardy. So please allow me to describe the board that's on the screen before I kind of walk into it. So on my screen, of course, this is all audio, so no one can see us besides Julian and Justin. But on my screen is a standard Jeopardy board ranging from points from 100 to 500. There are 5 categories. The categories are Halloween movies, Halloween, Halloween treats, Halloween monsters, and another Halloween. For the record, I did not make this. I always have to put that disclaimer on there. I don't know what the answers are. I don't know anything about this. Admittedly, I was running really late, so I kind of just Googled Halloween. And so who knows? Who knows what this is going to be? All right. So
okay.
I've kind of painted the picture. Julian, for the sake of this, your team 1, Justin's team 2. You do not have to answer who is, what is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
You just blurt it out. Also, when you pick the question, it's your question to answer. There's no stealing. Now, unless you get it wrong, I will give Justin an opportunity to steal or vice versa. Okay. But if you get that wrong, I deduct points. So,
all right.
Julian, you are the honored guest. You get to go first.
All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to Halloween treats for 300. Let's break it up in the middle here.
Halloween treats 300. What's the popular chocolate Halloween candy that means to laugh?
Oh my gosh. What's the popular chocolate Halloween candy that means to laugh? What in the world?
To laugh.
Peter, you picked these questions?
I did not pick these questions.
Oh my gosh.
That means to laugh.
I'm stumped, and I don't know if it's because I don't know.
And by the way, if you say you don't know,
I don't know.
Nothing happens.
Okay, I don't know. Justin, did you create these questions?
Absolutely not. No, Peter, I think secretly does this in his abundant free time and likes to think of ways to how Justin's never going to get Jeopardy correct. So, all right, no, Justin, I did not make this.
What is it, Justin?
Why do I have to guess? I don't know.
Okay. Well, the correct answer is Snickers.
Oh, these are. So they're dad joke. Oh, just
See, and I was thinking like Rolo, like
I was thinking Rolos too.
Yeah, I was just like, something about like Rolo, like laughing, but I wasn't gonna guess that because I knew that was wrong.
I have to calibrate my brain for dad jokes now. I wasn't.
It's not going to be all dad jokes. Not going to be all dad jokes. At least I don't think so.
That was a good one, though.
Okay, Justin, you're up.
Halloween movies for 100.
Halloween movies for 100. Casper is a friendly what?
Ghost.
What? I get the dad joke and he gets Casper? Okay. All right.
The correct answer is Ghost.
Yes. On the board positively. And for now.
All right, okay. Julian.
All right. I'm not going to shoot ahead of my skis again. So let's do Halloween for 100, the second column, not the fifth. So how about we go to column?
Thank you very much.
There we go.
Who are you going to call?
I don't know. Ghostbusters?
Who are you going to call?
We're aging ourselves here.
The correct answer is Ghostbusters. You are going to call Ghostbusters. Good job. All right, Justin.
All right, we'll go negative here. So we'll go Halloween monsters for 200.
Halloween monsters 200. The ancient creature sewn together from corpse parts and sparked to life is both tragic and terrifying.
Frankenstein.
The correct answer is.
Who
is Frankenstein? Good job, Justin.
All right.
All right, Julian.
So my goal is to at least meet or beat where Justin is. So if he does 200, I'm going to do a 200er. Okay, let's do Halloween treats for 200.
Halloween treats 200. What rainbow candy sells over 3 million pounds every Halloween?
Would that be M&M's? No.
All right, Justin, you want to steal?
Oh my God, really?
Skittles.
Wait a minute. Listen, hold on. I know it's Taste the Rainbow, but like I never associate Skittles with Halloween ever.
Neither do I. It's just the rainbow.
I mean,
right.
Fine.
The correct answer is.
I thought that, and I thought it was Skittles, but I just never associate.
Julian, I'm sorry.
I mean, listen, you know what?
Look at Justin winning.
Okay, I'm coming back. All right, I'm coming back. I'm stretching now. And I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have my coffee today.
Man, I have enough points to go for a big one here. All right, let's go.
Yeah, do that.
Halloween monsters for 500.
Halloween monsters for 500. The silent figure in a white mask stalks his victims relentlessly in a long-running horror film franchise.
Yep, haunted me all through my childhood. That's Jason.
Gosh.
Ooh, wait, that could also be Michael.
Nope,
I'm
you already said
Jason.
Jason?
I don't care.
Julian,
both of those people haunted me through my childhood, so it's okay.
Listen, I would say Scream.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one too.
The correct answer is...
this is an unfair question.
Michael Myers.
We just identified 3 people with white masks.
See what I'm saying?
All right, well, sorry.
See, this is how I told you.
Also,
he makes these questions.
It could be Joan Crawford from Mommy Dearest. She wore a scary white mask.
And Julian didn't answer that question. She didn't say I'm stealing.
She said Scream. She said Scream.
That wasn't a real answer.
All right, fine.
Don't be mean to her like that. Come on.
I won't. I give her points back.
I got you, Miss Julian. Don't worry.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Julian.
Where there's a will, there's a J.
Exactly.
I'm stinking it up over here. All right, let's do Halloween treats for 500, even though I've been unsuccessful. I got to catch up.
Halloween treats 500. Often found in trick-or-treat bags, these colorful, sugar-coated chocolate candies melt in your mouth, not in your hand.
I'm going to press repeat and say M&M's, Peter.
All right, the correct answer is M&M's. Good job, Julie.
Rally.
All right.
Rally.
All right, Justin.
Halloween movies for 500.
Halloween movies, 500. What is the name of the town where The Nightmare Before Christmas takes place?
Ooh.
It's a really good question. We're going to go with Halloween.
Just Halloween.
I mean, that's the only thing I think of. They keep screaming, "This is Halloween. This is." That's all. So, I mean, it's got to be Halloween.
That was very. Julian, do you want to steal?
Is it Christmas Town?
Correct answer is Halloween Town.
But then why did you ask me to steal?
You're totally right.
You were not right. You just said Halloween.
That is right.
I was thinking that it was Christmas Town, and because
I said Halloween.
You just said Halloween. You missed the important part.
See, I swear to God.
See this? What's this word? What's this word? TOWN.
It's identified in the name of the question that it's a town.
Nope. Halloween Town.
the designation. Here go those zoning problems. It could have been a township or a city, Justin.
Seriously. Could have been Halloween. It could have been Halloweenville.
That would have been a totally different answer.
Nope. All right. Last round. Julian.
Okay. All right.
I thought she got it wrong that time.
No, she didn't.
Okay. We're now in the octagon. I'm going to do Halloween for 500, far right column.
Halloween 500. What does the word Halloween come from?
Are you kidding me?
Hallowed? The word hallowed. To be reverent? I mean, how deep are we supposed to go here?
I mean, I don't know. Justin, you want to steal?
No.
The correct answer.
Are you trying to get points, Peter?
No.
I know it's All Hallows Eve.
No, that's the night before Halloween, I thought.
I don't know. Correct answer is.
Well, you said it.
Yeah.
Halloween was known as All Hallows Eve.
I really listen. This is why I stick to mortgages and not holidays.
I hate when I'm right.
You guys, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just really fuck it up here.
All right. That was Julian's question, right? Yeah. All right. Justin?
Is this our last question?
This is the very last question.
Oh, man.
And just, I apologize, I haven't done this. We currently have scores of Julian with -100 and Justin with -500.
Wow. How is this even pop? Okay. I'm not going to.
No, this is a normal score for me, actually.
His is more like -2,000.
Yeah, this is also true. So I'm actually doing pretty good today. I got one right. I'm going to go with Halloween, the first column, the second column for 500. I don't know.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
The fact that there's two Halloweens.
Where is the biggest Halloween parade?
Is Halloween an American holiday?
No.
See, there we go. That helps me a lot. I wasn't sure of that. See, now the whole world's our oyster. Let's see.
I think
Germany.
You're saying where in Germany?
No, it just says, Germany.
You're saying Germany.
Germany is a location.
I know it's a location, but where in Germany?
I don't know that see, you're just going to mark me wrong if I'm not super specific and it wants specific.
Fine. Just say Germany's fine. Julian, do you want to steal?
I mean, are we, do we have, is it the world or are we talking the United States? Like, what are we talking about?
I'm guessing the world.
But you're winning right now.
You can just say, I don't want to answer and you could still win.
I could, but I would lose, right, because I would lose my points because he's already got it wrong. I'm going to take a stab in the dark because...
I didn't get it wrong.
Oh, you didn't?
I don't know yet.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know yet.
Oh, gosh. So, see, there's the pressure. I have to answer because if he gets it right, then he's like going to beat me, right? He'll be a 0. And
even if you get them both good wrong, you still win.
All right. I'm just going to say, I'm going to throw it out there and I'm going to stick with the United States and I'm going to say New York City and I'm going to go there.
Okay. All right. I'm going to chime in on this too. I'm going to say Salem, Mass.
Okay.
The correct answer is.
Oh, that's a good one.
New York.
And can I just say the only reason I know this is because I was on IG and somebody was posting about it. Ba, 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 ba.
All right. At the end of how many rounds we played, the final score is Julian with positive 400 and Justin negative 1,000. Now that's a score I like to see for Justin.
Listen, even a broke clock is right twice a day.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Julian, that was awesome. Congratulations for being this episode's winner of Halloween On Point Jeopardy.
Absolutely.
And by the way, Julian, really do appreciate everything that you do for our industry, our association. Really enjoyed the conversation. And again, thank you so much for being on today.
I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. And thanks to your listeners. And you guys are the absolute best. Thank you for all of the wonderful work that you do. As a former, administration official, I can't underscore or overstate too much how valuable this partnership has been. So thank you so much to Peter and Team Acuma. You guys are the best.
Of course. And Justin, thank you.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
And to close out, and to all of you, we know your time is valuable. Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Acuma's On Point podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, be well, my friends.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time at the Acuma On Point podcast. If not already, be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. For more great episodes and information, be sure to visit us online at acuma.org. And to get the latest updates, head over to our LinkedIn page.